Alright guys, we have Zack here. Uh, this was our first tournament. This is our first online Feel Good Gaming tournament, and he was the winner of the Collector's Rare Torrential. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. So, um, anybody can join these tournaments. This is just our first one, and we still had over 8 people. But basically, what will happen is you join our Discord. There's a raffle, and 8 players will get into the tournament. They'll win the raffle and get into the tournament, and then there's a free prize every time. And today was the Collector's Rare Torrential. So Zach's going to go over the deck, and then he's going to talk about the first 2 rounds, and then he's going to play through a replay of the finals. So take it away, Zach.
Hey, everybody. So I'm on Fairies, which is actually a very similar list if you look at the Feel Good Gaming tournament from this past Sunday. I was also on Fairies and made top 8 in that event, and I talked about some adjustments in that deck profile I wanted to make, and I made several of them here, and well, it carried me to victory. So that's turned out really well for me. So I'm on the Royal Decree Fairies, right? Because one of the things that's been popular lately is putting in a nobleman because how poorly Fairies deals with the hamster and Rykos. So Nobleman, of course, destroys them. But Nobleman is terrible against Blackwings and Heroes, which are two of the most prominent decks in the meta. So another card that was popular in Fairies for like all of last year and earlier this year was Book of Moon at 3, and it's been cut down recently in favor of more traps. But since I'm just on the decrees, I can play. I have room for all 3 moons, and I can actually put in an extra nobleman because they can combine to almost be a dark core if I need them to.
Yeah, that's really good synergy.
And then the Book of Moons outside of that are just pretty insane because of how much Dimensional Prison and Mirror Force hurt this deck. You really want to be crashing your recruiters and DD Warrior Ladies to get rid of key threats. A Book of Moons can basically be additional copies of MST to protect your monsters from that. There's 3 Christias because I think the card is crazy good. There's some people that only play 2, but especially with like Tragodia, you can pitch it to steal 8, so it helps unbrick you. The orange lights will help unbrick you. The one Consecrated Light main board, just Black Wings is such a popular deck and such a strong deck that I think being able to search this out is very important. In my round 2 match against Vayu Turbo, this just straight up won game 1 all by itself. He had a Dark
Yeah,
Grepher and a Vayu Engrave, and I played Consecrated Light, and he couldn't play the game anymore.
Yeah,
that is
that
a
was
good
against my
point.
brother.
Yeah,
That is a good point. I'm running the stats on our big tournament right now, and between Value Turbo and Blackwings, that makes up 26% of the field. So it's
so
pretty good.
something to be careful about
He,
in Vayu Turbo, right, is that they do main Rykos and sometimes Hamsters and Card Trooper, which are all cards that can beat over Consecrated Light.
hmm
So Nobleman's helps get rid of all of those except the Trooper. Um, and then maybe if the Trooper comes, you can moon it and kill it with something else. But you do have to be, you can't just depend solely on Consecrated Light to win. You do have to protect it.
hmm
Blackwings are going to try and out it with their Icarus attack, which of course is countered by Decree, and a card that I added today, which is My Body's a Shield. If you watched my last deck profile, this used to be a Herald of Greenlight, and I said, Herald stunk, I want to replace it with a third My Body because I was already siding 2, and I did, and boy did it come up today. This card is just insane right now. Um, Coming out of when I'm siding more in later, which I did all the time, it's really good against deck devastation virus because there's very few decks that can just deck devastation shotgun it at you. Like there's the giant Kazuki and Fusilier, the dual mode beast, like virus turbo deck, but nobody plays that thing. Most people are like trying to stick a Sirocco and then tribute that, but that means you're at least 1 turn in the game and you're gonna have a guy on board. So the My Body's live. Really good. I did get deck dev today and didn't have the My Body. I ended up clutching that game out anyway, but the My Body would definitely have helped in that situation.
That's really dope.
And then another adjustment I want to make is the Soul of Purity and Light. I've decided is too much anti-synergy with Christia. I mean, it helps fix your graveyard, but you can't like play it and Christia on the same turn a lot of the time. Like you'd have to have 5 or 6 lights engraved to play both, which I mean it does come up, but like you can if you have 4, you can't Christia and then play her, or like you could with Freed. So this I'm thinking about maybe as a double freed, but it could also just be something that doesn't fix the graveyard, like maybe a um, royal oppression.
Hmm.
Which is, it sounds weird to throw in another trap when I'm on decrees, but royal oppression is just really strong in fairies because the only thing in your deck it negates is Christia, and the rest of your deck, since it's all damaged at floating, it'll generally hose your opponent more than you.
Hmm.
Six recruiters. One of the reasons I had space for six recruiters is because of my decrees. I didn't have to play as much back row as other decks. There's a lot of people out there that play four or five. I think six is really important because it makes sure that you always have gas for orange light, and you really always want to be sitting on a recruiter. Your dimensional alchemists are probably not going to be live early. Warrior ladies are good to start, but you're not always going to have a warrior lady. So this gives you nine starters. Which is really where you want to be. Opening a hand with just like honest orange lights and Christias just feels so bad.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is pretty standard. Fair. It also helps Tragodia. You have a monster hand to steal more often. You'll notice I'm on no Gores. Gores could be another replacement for Soul of Purity and Light. It's a little bit awkward with Decree, and with six recruiters, I'm going to have a guy in play pretty frequently. But if my opponent does manage to punch through, the Gores is just one of the best cards in the format that can win games by himself. So
Hmm.
that's another option there. But yeah, the rest of the deck's pretty standard. Cyber Valley Minecon is a tech that I think Keegan invented, E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been pretty good, and Minecon functions like Nobleman a lot of the time. As far as my side deck goes, we got a second Consecrated Light for matchups where it's insane. The Banisher of the Radiance, this card's in there to go against other decks that play recruiters, whether it's like a Fairy Mirror or zombies or something. Just stops the recruiters from floating. It's also immune to deck dev because it's 1600. Cyber Dragons are great. Electric Viruses are great. The side deck is I think it's identical actually to my deck profile from Sunday. I have the third Nobleman here, two more My Bodies that I sided in all the time. It came in clutch in the finals. We'll view that in a bit. Another Soul Release to fix your own graveyard and clear out your opponents. I put this in against the Value Turbo player, and the Mask of Restrict for Frogs, and then not much to say about Edison extra decks. For since I'm not playing any sort of fusion package, I have room for all the best cards.
Definitely, definitely looks really good. I really like all the changes you made from the other day, 2 days ago at our other tournament. Um, it looks like you just took out everything you thought wasn't working for you, and you were able to put in great replacements, and you just won the tournament. So that's dope. I'm excited to see how you do at our next one.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, round one was against Synchro Cat. I feel that this deck is actually very good against Synchro Cat because Cat's limited to one Edison, right? And Orange Light, as long as you have one of those, counters the Cat, counters the whole deck. This guy was also on Gravekeeper's Spy, which was a little bit annoying because I actually didn't open up Nobleman's. So I crashed into the Spy thinking it would be like a Raikou or something, and then it floated to another Spy, and this deck has a huge problem with getting over those 2k butts. So for a while, we just stared down at each other. Eventually, I was able to punch through by just eventually landing Christia, synchroing my own monsters away to get the fairies engraved to land that Christia, and that was able to help me seal the deal. He had a Thunder King in attack position, which maybe if you're a Synchro Cat player, don't leave something in attack position against a deck with recruiters because that's what let me get to Christia. I get that he thought he was safe because he has like D prisons and Mirror Force and Compulse and stuff in the back row, but this deck doesn't care about Compulse one bit, and Book of Moon helped protect me from those other things as well as the My Body. So eventually, once I land Christia, the game's over. My round two was against Vayu Turbo. This deck normally isn't super great against Vayu Turbo because Hamster Raikou is really strong against fairies, but the main deck Soul Releases and Noblemans really helps in that matchup. Um, there was a game where I was able to Nobleman away all of his Raikous, which was huge. It banished the own Raikou from my deck, and my Dialk actually was able to float into it when it was my only banished card, which is kind of cool that came up. I drew the Soul Release early, and I wanted to save it for max value to like deny um, a bunch of darks for dad and Vayu and stuff. And I probably should have shotgunned it because there was a game where he landed Chaos Sork against me. um, since I just let him have the cards engraved for too long. I also didn't set moons against him a lot because as long as I'm not drawing Decree, there's nothing in this deck that somebody can MST. Since they're all spells, right? I can hold them in my hand. I don't have to commit them unless I think I'm going to need to use them on their turn. So he was able to banish my Nova Summoner because I didn't set moon, being scared of MST. Whether he had the moon or not, the MST or not, I don't actually know. But yeah, then I was able to deal with that Chaos Sork with my one of Raikou, which came up. So overall, I'd say the Vayu Turbo matchup is pretty good. The one of Consecrated Light stole a game for free. I played it and he just drew all of his darks and none of his lights or his card trooper, so that was huge. Um, even if you're not on this exact build, at least having the noblemans in the side will help shore up that matchup a lot. So I highly recommend those there. And then I think we can jump into the finals.
Dope. Yeah, let's do that.
So my opening hand here, you see it's a bunch of just uh, reactive cards. There might be an argument for saving the Nova Summoner to go with the Herald for if he opens, I don't know, anything that has an effect, but I don't know what deck he's on right now. I just want to defend my life points because I don't really want to commit Freed. Your life points are pretty important in this deck because crashing recruiters in a lot will cost you a lot of life points. And of course, I'm not setting the moon because I'm thinking about following up with a heavy next turn.
Mhm.
So now we see he's on Hero Beat there. So he crashes the Nova Summoner, I get another Nova Summoner. It's just a very safe option because they summon in defense position. So there's an argument here for getting a Shining Angel, so I'd have to do less crashes to get to DD Warrior Lady, but I saw he had 2 back row. So at first I'm thinking 2 back row, I'm thinking maybe it's like a Starlight Road and a mystery card, or a Trap Dish shooting a mystery card is an option. It could also be Gemini Spark and a mystery card. Just any chainable something. Yeah, Legacy of Yatagarasu. So I pick a very safe option because I don't think I'm going to crash. I was probably going to sit in defense position again for a turn. So that turn I draw Nobleman, and he dust shoots me immediately and put back Herald of Orange Light. So then I have a couple decision points this turn, right? So Elemental here, Neosalius only has. Let me just show that I Heavy Storm, take out that card in the back. It only has 1300 defense, so I can crash Nova, get Shining Angel, crash, get DD Warrior Lane, and banish it, which is really good because it'll be turning off his future Miracle Fusions since he doesn't have the hero. It also turns off his Hero Blasts. Additionally, I can just moon it and beat over it and put it in grave, or I can moon it and banish it with Nobleman and push for damage. Or I can just sit behind my recruiter and do nothing and protect my life points. So the option I chose to go is I end up banishing it with Nobleman because I don't think I'm going to get another set target and push for a little bit of damage. So the reason I'm pushing for damage here is because he didn't open Stratos, so I'm thinking there's a non-zero chance that he just runs out of threats. Since his guy is banished, he can't Hero Blast it back. He can't get it back with Ocean, so I could definitely he like I said, he won't be able to make ab zeros easily, so he could just have a bricked hand, and I could kill him before he can get online. Thinking back on it, I mean, that was a little preemptive. If this builds on like Snowman Eater or something, getting rid of the Nobleman was really troll, but that's what I decided to do. So he does DD Warrior Lady there and just attacks. So banishes my Herald. So remember, I booked his guy to Nobleman it, right? If I still had the book, I could have booked his DD Warrior Lady and then knocked his DD Warrior Lady and kept my guy around, and he would have just attacked into it with Neosalius and just floated to another guy. So potentially there, a decision tree where the game could have gone different. So here, I draw Consecrated Light. Of course, drawing it against heroes is useless. He sets a card. I just think I have to push for damage. My hand is complete dog water. I have to get this game over quick because he probably is going to have more online cards than me since the number of good cards I have right now is effectively 0. So I just start pushing for 1700s. He sets a card here. I actually drew Christia and didn't attack because I thought this card was probably Snowman Eater. And if he wanted to destroy my guy, I wanted to force him to put a Snowman Eater in attack position. But it was actually Crystal Seer, which is a card that I'm not used to seeing in Edison format. And I've seen a few people talk about it online. And a ruling I actually learned during this game is that your opponent, being me in this case, doesn't get to see the cards that Crystal Seer quote-unquote excavates, because Edison Tech says pick up, which I thought was kind of neat. So he chooses a card to put in his hand with Crystal Seer and gains more advantage over me. I draw another Christia, which is a brick. I lose my guy, and he commits an Ocean. And then just pushes for damage, and there's Jack, all I can do about it. I draw a Dust Shoot way too late. I try to defend my life points with the Consecrated Light and put Fairies in grave. He's able to fuse. He keeps drawing. I'm just holding these here. I'm really hoping he gets a Stratos so I can put my... Because right now I have 2 Fairies in grave, right? So if he would play like a Stratos with an E-Call off or a Rhoda, I could Orange Light it and commit my Christia, which would let me, of course, get myself back in the game. But that doesn't happen. He's just drawing all sorts of back row to back up his Ab-Zero here. And the Future Fusion, of course, is letting another Ab-Zero come down soon, so it's probably important that I get Christia down ASAP so that that Future Fusion doesn't summon the guy. So here, the DD Warrior Lady off the top is a pretty sick rip because it lets me answer Ab-Zero, and here's one to make a critical misplay of the game and probably loses me the game. So he just battle phase attacks, probably fearing Raikou. He doesn't want to commit another guy. If he has another guy, he might not even have another guy. And of course we banish. So then what I should have done here is I should have Herald of Orange Light pitched Christia to negate Ab-Zero, because Ab-Zero, it's a mandatory activation, even though if no monsters on field, it activates, and that would have put me 4 Fairies in grave. I could have played Christia, got back my Nova Summoner, and been right back in the game. But I didn't see the play at the time, and that lets him start his turn and get another Ab-Zero in play and just destroy me from here. Yeah, there's not much to say from here on out. I just get beat down. And that's game 1. So as far as siding goes, going first, I put in both Cyber Dragons, which is a weird card to put in going first, but it's pretty good against that deck. Is there any way for me to... No, I can't click on things. Move things around because I'm signed to the dueling book already. I put in Prohibition. Naming Neos Alias really shuts down the hero deck. I put in 2 My Bodies because it counters Hero Blast, it counters Gemini Spark, it counters Ab-Zero activation, it counters Mirror Force and Torrential. This just is good against like at least 10 cards in their deck. It's insane. And then I took out Consecrated Light. I took out Cyber Valley and Minecon because I also want to take out Heralds. He's playing so many normal monsters in his deck that Herald is not super great. It really just needs to be C Stratos. So since I'm taking out some of my conversions for Minecon, it makes Minecon worse. So then I just took out the Cyber Valley Minecon package, 2 Heralds. Since I'm going first, I left in Dust Shoot, and I think I actually put in another Nobleman because I didn't see any Divas or Gilmans. So I was like, okay, his only waters are Ocean and the Crystal Seer, so it seems really weird to put a Nobleman across out against Hero Beat, but if I can just banish all of his Crystal Seers, he's really low on his water counts, and then I'll still have like books, of course, to help turn on my Noblemans, which makes answering Ab-Zero a lot easier when that card's normally pretty tricky to answer. I would need to have like exactly Honest DD or Arclord Christia, since I'm not playing Battle Traps to answer it. I guess Raikou too. Alright, so we can hop back into the match. So here we go, going first, Dust Shoot, amazing, and I'm pretty sure I set Raikou or DD here. Both are good plays. I think I do with Raikou because it gives you more options of what to pop on your first turn. Yeah. I shocked. So you can save Trap Dust Shoot for spell and trap removal. And I do that against a lot of decks to try and bait the MST of the Heavy Storm before using it. I actually did that in, I think, against the Cat deck. He committed Thunder King as his normal summon, and then I activated Trap Dust Shoot and was able to snipe a Cat. But against heroes, they're almost always going to lead with Stratos. So I just Trap Dust Shoot immediately to take the Stratos if they have it. There you go, you can see the hand there in the chat, and I just took the Alias, and that left him with only Honest as his monster and double Miracle Fusion, so he's in a really tough spot this game. So I just start getting in for damage. Technically, Dialk is more damage than DD Warrior Lady, but if he was able to answer it, I'd want to make sure I have a banished card first. And Shining Angel is less damage than DD, so I just wanted to get in for the full 15. And his set was Legacy, which we knew because we saw his hand. So now we know his set here was most likely Honest. We know he had 2 draws because he had his draw for turn and his draw of Legacy. But honestly, even if that was Crystal Seer popping with Raikou, it's still probably fine. And his back row here, it could be some miracles as bait, or he drew into all back row. We knew he drew into back row actually, because if he had a monster, he would have used it instead of throwing away his Honest. But even if he has back row, we have the Book of Moon to answer D-Prison, and we have the My Body's a Shield to answer Mirror Force or Torrential or Bottomless. Bottomless is actually, our guys are immune to Bottomless because Fairies are amazing. They're all under 1500 basically. So I do not care about his back row one bit. I can play through all of it. So here he brings back Honest, and I'm able to attack over it, no issue. He has the Mirror Force, and I have the My Body to just push through.
Wow. That is such good tech, dude.
Take away half his life points. We know 2 of his cards are Miracle Fusion. He throws down 2 more sets that he didn't have last turn, and he only drew 1 card. So we know at least one of those is a Miracle Fusion. And then, technically you're not supposed to know what that card is yet, but it's funny, we banished 2 Noblemans off the top, no monsters. So here we book the Raikou back down and then pop his set monster again, and we just push through for a lot more damage. You'll notice that I didn't commit the Shining Angel to the board here because I was scared that he top decked Torrential, and I'm all out of My Bodies. So we have the Book of Moon to defend from D-Prisons, but he's basically dead. His life points are going to be so low after all these attacks, and I have Brain Con to steal whatever if he draws a monster, that I don't need to kill him this turn. The game's already won. Alright, my side deck was basically the same, except I took out Trap Dust Shoot going second and put in, I think, probably another soul. Oh, I put in another Orange Light, so I went back up to 2 Orange Lights instead of 1. So our opening hand here, Cyber Dragon on turn 1, of course, very good, beats all over his stuff, and we have Heavy Storm to clear out his back row, and then My Body's a Shield to clear out his first answer. So we're sitting pretty. So he just starts out with Alias set 2. So setting 2, it's potential that 1 Starlight Road, but before we saw him bait with Legacy and Dust Shoot earlier in the game, but since he doesn't Dust Shoot me during the standby phase, I make the call that one of those is probably Legacy. So I don't worry about Starlight Road, and I just commit the Heavy there and take out his Mirror Force. So now, when I attack here, I do want to go through this a little bit slower because he asks in chat here, you see damage. So there's a chance now that he, of course, is playing the slow because of Honest, which is something awkward about playing in real life and not on an automatic simulator. That, okay, if you want to get technical with Honests, you have to slow it down, which kind of telegraphs that you have it. So I figure here, if I'd have to lead with my Honest to win the Honest fight, right? But then, I'm just left with a side draw on board, and one of my big ways of protection is gone. I don't really care if he Honests, because if he Honests, I can Trag and then pitch my Honest and take his Neos Alias, which denies him a hero engrave. He'd have to get another Neos Alias and crash them or something to get his back, and then he still doesn't have the water. So I think if I get Honested here, it's no big deal. So then he says damage, sure, calc. I say sure, and then he doesn't have the Honest. He was just faking it the whole time. So now he sets his whole hand because he knows I don't have Heavy Storm, right? So now I have a zillion back rows to play through. I just go for damage because, of course, I'm not committing Honest into a potential Torrential, and this is fine. I'll just keep pushing through. The Book of Moons and My Body's a Shield makes me protected from basically anything he can do. I draw Nova Summoner, I think 2 seconds ago I just said I was scared of torrential, but I have my body, so I'm not scared of torrential. I don't know, I had a brain lapse there. So yeah, I commit the Nova Summoner, not scared of torrential. It goes under bottom unless he probably sided those out and just push in for damage. I'm not scared of Mirror Force. I'm not scared of Deep Prison. He has the Hero Blast here, and I'm able to my body to negate the Hero Blast. But then he just chains Call of the Haunted to bring back his Neos Alias to stop the attack anyway. But yeah, my body to negate Hero Blast, so sick. So here, I decide to just continue the attack with my Nova Summoner. I crash, get Shining Angel, crash, and then I go to DD Warrior Lady. So this is going to be able to banish his Neos Alias to turn off other Hero Blasts or Miracle Fusions or anything else like that. And I drop the Trag on that damage, because now he's getting pretty low. I know that he didn't have any monsters, right? He just set his whole back row and passed. So it's time to end the game. Besides, I'm kind of running out of gas here. I don't have any more recruiters or anything to play. So I just push for the 1800. And that's it.
That was extremely well played, and dude, you're really good. Like the amount of like commentary and the way that you think about the game is extremely high level, and that was really awesome to talk to you and just watch happen.
Great,
So
thanks.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Like this, it was just crazy to kind of see how you kind of took the lessons from the tournament the other day and just like really applied them and saw them in action. It was really cool to see.
Love your commentary, Zach. I love the way you just literally just played the game and just talked about the game and all your choices. Really flowed good on the stream, and it was really well said.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, this was a really awesome event. Definitely get in the Feel Good Gaming Discord if you're not already. Take part in some of these tournaments. They're literally free to enter, and I just won a $35 Collector's Rare Torrential Tribute for playing. And don't worry about it if you think that like you need to get better at Edison first. The only way you're gonna get better at Edison is by playing Edison.
that is for sure.
Very true. Well, hey, thanks, Zach. Great job in the tournament today. Is there anyone you'd want to shout out? Do you want to plug yourself? Anything like that?
Yeah,
Where
that'd
can
be
we find
great.
you?
I have a fledgling YouTube channel right now at Zoo Yu-Gi-Oh on YouTube. Right now it's just a couple mail days for some fun cards that I ordered earlier this year. But as I keep playing Edison, expect to see some content go out there in the future. And yeah, check out Zoo Yu-Gi-Oh. I'll probably put a lot of fairy stuff out there if you like fairies, maybe some dragon stuff too. That'll be a blast.
Very cool.
So-
Thanks for playing.